this evening. I'm gonna keep on my walk here. You hear the birds are singing. It's such a beautiful, beautiful evening, or coming into evening. And I'll see you next time. Bye. All right. Hello, hello. Welcome back to our channel. I'm by myself today. I'm out on a little walk and it's a little bright out here. So I'm gonna try my best to find the right angle so you all can see me okay. It was supposed to be actually a cooler day today, but it wound up being quite sunny and warm. I had a sweater on, and I even took off my sweater because it's about 71 degrees. So it's really nice and warm and conducive for a walk, which is why I brought y'all out here with me today. So I'm walking around the neighborhood. You can see, this is the neighborhood. There's a lot of new development going on in my neighborhood. We were actually one of the first houses to be built in this neighborhood. And now when I look around me, there are about 60 more houses that have been built over the last few years, or a couple years, since we bought our house. And I think I'll do a video about that process too. Buying a home in a newly developed community, that's a whole different situation. So anyway, stay tuned for that. And actually let me know in the comment section what you would want to know about, any questions you have about that experience, because there were a lot of different things this time around, buying a newly built home in a newly developed community that we didn't experience when we bought our first home years ago, where it was already in an established community and it was an older home. So anyway, and that's a conversation for another day. Let me know in the comments section what you would be interested to know about. Maybe I have some answers for you. So anyway, today what I want to talk about is one of the questions that I always get when I talk to people about my own healing journey and some of the things that I went through over the years to getting better and seeing some changes with my own health, is what are some of the things that I need to change that might be making me sick. So I'm gonna give you my top 5 things that I want you to think about and focus on, because they may just be making you sick and keeping you sick. Okay, if you're struggling with something in terms of your physical health. All right, so let's get started. So number 5, my number 5, what I would say is on my list of what is making you and keeping you sick. You are too into convenience. Yep, I said it. You're too into convenience. What do I mean by that? Think about some of the decisions that you make when you need to get things done quickly, or maybe you're in a rush, or maybe you just don't have the mental capacity to really put a lot of thought into the choices that you make in your everyday routine. That's what I'm talking about when I say you're into convenience. And you're not considering what's making you sick. I'll give you an example. So let's say you wake up on a weekend, maybe you wake up a little later, and since it's maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, you didn't eat since, I don't know, 5 o'clock yesterday, 5 p.m. the day before, and 10 o'clock you're ready to eat, right? And so you don't have anything in the kitchen. Maybe it was your day to go grocery shopping on a Saturday morning, and so you get ready, put on clothes, run out the door, and instead of putting a lot of thought into what you're going to nourish your body with, you grab the first thing available to you because it's convenient. All right? So you might stop at the gas station and put some gas in the tank, and you'll grab a bag of chips on the way out because your body is ravishing hungry, right? You haven't eaten in a while. And your body is probably really just making decisions for you at that point if you're really hungry. So you're grabbing the chips. And B, you're thinking, oh, well, I need something right now. And so you grab that bag of chips and you start, you think, I need some sustenance. I'm just going to, do this for right now. Because it's convenient. And not realizing that is what your body does not want first thing in the morning is a bag of greasy, salty potato chips. Right? But it's convenient and it's there. Okay? So you might want to plan for those types of situations. I know it's not always possible. I'm guilty of doing it too. But I realize that when I operate out of that place of it's convenient, it's right there, I usually regret it. Okay? Same thing with knowing that you maybe should take that extra, I don't know, few minutes to get to that health food spot that maybe sells really good salads instead of stopping at your local fast food joint. Okay? So just changing that mindset to where, I don't have a lot of energy to put into thinking about what I eat right now. I just need to eat. Changing that mindset. And I always say the process is more important than the end result, than the goal. Okay? So the goal, the end result is you want to eat, right? You want to feel satiated. And the process is, what do I eat? Or what do I prepare to eat? Or what do I seek out to eat? And going about obtaining food. And so thinking about the process as just as important as the outcome or the goal. So that's number 5. Too into convenience. So number 4, I think I'm going to turn around. This is taking me out to the main street where I'm going. This direction, and there's a lot of cars, not a lot, but a little bit of traffic here. There's a motorcycle coming right now. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna go back the way I came from so that it's a little quieter. So anyhow, number 4, you're not mindful of your body care products. Yep. You're not mindful of your body care products, or maybe you don't even realize how detrimental most of the things that we use on our bodies can be to your health. So, most people like to focus on the things that they put in their mouths. Actually, a lot of people don't focus on that either, but when people think about health, they go to, what do I ingest internally? But your skin and your lungs, right? So the things that your skin absorbs and the things that your lungs breathe in weigh heavily on what your body is exposed to. So your skin absorbs like 90+% of what's put on it. Okay, and I would probably say almost 100%, if not 100%. Try this and let me know what your outcome was. Rub some garlic. Take a raw clove of garlic. Okay, peel it, maybe just cut it in half. Rub it on the soles of your feet. Rub it on the soles of your feet. And tell me if you taste garlic in your mouth minutes later. You should, because your skin absorbs so much of what it's exposed to. Okay? Now, whether or not we pay attention to that is a different story, but it absolutely does. That's why they have things like the nicotine patches and birth control patches, where they can, plop it on your arm, and you can get all of the stuff that you need in your body to, that it wants to give to you. Transdermal, okay, transdermally through your skin. So if you're putting products on your skin that have 50, 60 ingredients, it's not even about the number of ingredients, but usually when a product has more than 5 ingredients or 6 or 10 ingredients, they're going to be synthetic, man-made, toxic ingredients. Okay, so you want to pay attention to what you put on your skin. You need to be reading labels. You need to be cognizant of even things like fragrances that you're spraying, perfumes and colognes and those kinds of things. Those kinds of things are not meant for the human body. We may have become fashioned and accustomed to smelling them and thinking that they smell good, but they are toxic to our neurological system. Okay, they're neurotoxins, things that you can smell and breathe that are synthetic and have those pungent, strong odors that you you might use a shampoo and like herbal essences or something, and it has a strong perfume scent that you think smells really, really good, and then you can go wash your hair 100 times after that, and the scent is still in your head, in your scalp, without having to use the product over and over again. And so those things are not natural to the body, and they disrupt your endocrine system. So they disrupt your hormonal system in your body. A lot of times they're connected to, if you do the research, they're connected to infertility. Okay, we have so many cases of infertility these days in America, and it seems like it's just, sorry, a car is passing here. We have so many cases of infertility in America. It seems like it has exploded over the last, 40, 50 years. Okay, you just hear it more and more and more. People saying, I can't have a child, I'm not able to get pregnant, or I'm not able to carry a pregnancy to full term. These are some of the underlying causes that I think we are overlooking. And there's so much research out there. If folks would just lean into it, that you would find connections that may help you understand a little bit about what you're going through and struggling with. Okay, so that's my number 4. You got to pay attention to what you put on your body, what you expose your body to. Okay, all that chemistry that's floating around out there that's man-made is not necessarily good for us. Okay, so we want to be really careful about that. All right. And I want to say, before I move on, I want to say that's not just for fragrances and perfumes and body sprays. Even soaps and lotions And don't get me started on sunscreen, okay? Because we have been fed a lot of information about how, sunscreen is necessary and we need this and that, and it helps prevent cancer. And, the sun gives us cancer. Why would the sun give you cancer? I mean, I have my own ideas about, if you slather on some chemicals and you go bake it into your skin with the sun, then yes, we might see some correlation there, but it doesn't mean that the sun was the causative factor. But anyway, that's another conversation for another day. All right. So my number three top reason why you may be getting sick or staying sick is too much news. Too much news. Okay? Too much of the world's problems that you are taking into your own temple, into your fortress. Okay? Now, I remember when I made the decision. Actually, there was a point in my life where I got rid of my television, and I didn't have TV for like 5 years. Now, I was in graduate school, and it was kind of easy to function that way because I was busy anyway, right? Doing research and writing, papers and classes and teaching and all sorts of things. So I was doing all of that anyway. So it was easy not to succumb to that, lifestyle of having to have a TV. But I remember the reason why I decided that I didn't want a TV was because I realized that it was making me depressed. It was making me depressed. Actually, it was giving me a lot of different feelings. It was giving me whatever feelings the stories were portraying. Right? So whatever the people in the news stories, like, they have this headline like, oh, parent is fighting for justice once, because their teen got killed by a drunk driver. I would start to absorb all of that energy and feel the same type of feelings. Now, this could just be a me thing because I am one of those people where I'm an energy person, right? I feel other folks' energy. It weighs heavy on me, right? And even if it's good energy, I feel that too, I absorb that too. And that's nice when you can do that. But I take on a lot of, it affects me heavily and deeply when I become a witness or learn about other people's misfortune or, just sad things that they're struggling with. And so I made a decision that I didn't want that anymore. It wasn't news. It wasn't something that I needed to know. It wasn't something that was going to help me in my day-to-day life to, be better informed about what I needed to do that day when I woke up. Every now and then, once in a blue moon, you might find a news story that, makes a difference in your life. Information you need to know to make an informed decision about something. But for the most part, the information is like entertainment. It's entertainment. Now, why we as a society want to be entertained by hearing about who got murdered, who was raped, who was kidnapped, who got their house stolen, or who, robbed this bank yesterday. Why we need to hear that and call it news, and why it entertains us, that's beyond me, because I don't understand why people are entertained by other folks' misfortune. But I understand, but I don't understand. So anyhow, I made the decision that I was going to step back from that realm and not really do the whole TV thing. And it's been nice. I must say. And that was five, that was a long time ago. I did it for about a span of 5 years. And eventually I got a TV again, but I was very selective about what I experienced through that television. So I would watch things like cooking shows and traveling shows and things like that, right? I never got into watching the news again. And I still don't to this day. 20 years later, I still don't. I don't watch the news. I'm selective about things that I would watch. And I tell my kids the same thing, because you can't unsee things and you can't unfeel things. And frankly, a lot of what you will hear on the news, and it's not even just the news, even the sitcoms and the shows like CSI and those kinds of things. I don't know what else is out there these days. Things that tell stories about unfortunate events are not conducive to a thriving and productive human existence, really, to me, in my opinion. So I would encourage you, if you're one of those people who you like to turn the news on, okay, see if you can see what it feels like to go a week without watching the news. See if you don't feel a difference. See if you don't feel a difference. My youngest, Jediah, y'all know Jediah. We don't watch the news in the house, but when he's on his computer, he has pop-ups from like MSNBC News or whatever it is on his computer that will give him some headlines. And he will come and tell me things like, oh, did you know this was happening? Did you know that was happening? And Japan had a tsunami, and all of these different things. And I'll say, that is unfortunate, and I don't really want to know about it. Because it doesn't affect me. And I know that might sound crass, but it really doesn't affect me. And I have to stay in that mindset, because if I get all invested into it and poor people and poor lady, and I'm praying for them, or I'm donating money and things like that, not that I wouldn't do those things, but if I don't protect myself, again, I'm taking on the energy of the world. They're doing this construction and I came down the wrong street because they are using some loud machinery. Let's see if we can get through here before they start up again. But anyhow, if I take on all of those problems of the world, then I become overburdened. See, I believe truly, as a human being, we're only meant to carry and manage those problems that are... I'm going to pause and come back because, wait a minute, they stopped. So we're only meant to manage those problems that are reasonably in our jurisdiction, if I could say it that way. So I have my family, and I'm going to be, experiencing issues that are related to what they are going through. I have my own, health that I need to manage and navigate when things come up. My kids and their issues, and there are folks that are around them that may have issues that I'm connected to, right? Like, teachers and neighbors and friends and that kind of thing. And that really, honestly, is all I believe we are supposed to be able to carry, or have to carry and manage as human beings, as individuals. I don't need to hear about the million people in, Costa Rica who are affected by this, or I don't need to turn on the TV and hear about, all of the people who got shot up in Wisconsin, where, they're 1,000 miles away from me. I don't need that. To me, that's not news. To me, for me, it's not news for me. So all I'm saying is, like I said, I'm not trying to sound insensitive, but I think that it wears on us when we don't protect that space that we have naturally, and we go out and we seek out other people's hardship and experiences that were never meant for us to know about. Because I think about a time when, the world wasn't as global as it is now. People weren't pulling out cameras and shooting footage, from all the corners of the world and posting them on one platform so everybody can see and witness it. We weren't as global. We were always globally connected, but we weren't able to witness it in the way that we're able to witness it now. And so I think back to those times when, or before, we could witness all of this stuff that's happening around the world, right? We can even turn on a camera. They have these cameras that people position, at the zoo somewhere in Sri Lanka, and it's running on the internet 24/7, and you could tap into it and see what, Billy the lion is doing or whatever, like things that just, we were never able to do. And so having access to that type of experience sometimes doesn't do us as much good as we would want or hope for. I hope I'm making sense. Y'all. So that was number 3, okay? Watching the news and having access to all that information that really is not giving you anything other than a headache and insomnia and depression and fear, right? So many people think, the same thing is going to happen to them that happened to that little lady down the street in her home when her home got invaded, right? So anyway, moving to number 2. So number 2 is probably something that you all would guess. It is what you are eating and putting in your mouth. So we had what you put on your body, but then we need to talk about what you put in your bodies. Okay? In your bodies. So I'm not one to preach at people about what they choose to eat or what they think is healthy, because I don't profess to know, I don't profess to be the authority on any of that. I will talk to folks if they ask me about it, but what I will say is I cannot believe that eating things that are artificial can be good for us and can promote good health, or even good mental health and brain power. And I also cannot believe that eating something that is dead, that was once living, can be conducive to life as well. See, I'm alive. And if I eat something that's dead, that was once alive and now it's dead, okay, and it's transitioning, okay, it's no longer part of the living world, I cannot believe that that is good for me either. I just can't. I can't, okay? And so this is not necessarily about, being vegan and, loving animals and things like that. Although I do love animals. But even just as a normal person, aside from that, how does death beget life? I can't understand it. So I know that people are going to scream at me, argue. That's fine. For me, I think that is a big part of why folks may be sick and staying sick. Okay? That there is some connection there that is, it's not a tangible connection. It's beyond something that we could feel and touch. But there's a knowing there, I think, that needs to be explored. There's a knowing there. So anyway, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. I think I'll probably do some more videos where we talk about health and just, eating live stuff, another time. So anyhow, that's number 2. Okay, you got to eat stuff that is real, authentically created for consumption. Okay, so red dyes and fake flavors and things like that they taste strange. There's nothing on this green earth that has the flavor of a grape crushed soda. Grapes don't taste like that, y'all. And so eat authentically, or eat things that are authentic and real. Whole foods, is, if you will, is what they call them. Okay, and then eating things that are meant for the living, that are alive, right? So that's my number 2. So number one. I hold up with 2. Number 1, and this is something that has become very real and near and dear to me over the last few years, as I have struggled with some of my own health issues, and really some really strange health issues that have not been able to be understood by medical providers, which I don't really do medical providers anyhow. Like, I don't go to the doctor and things like that. But I'm telling you, over the last 3 years, like when it really first started, I was scared to death, literally, that was it for me. And I was trying to find some answers, and nobody could give me any answers. And so one of the biggest things that became apparent to me was the answers were in my soul and in my spirit. Okay? So I had to turn inward, and I had to start to make sense of why I looked normal on the outside to everyone, why there was nothing that happened physically to my body that would have made me start having all these strange symptoms, okay, they couldn't be measured on tests. There were all sorts of, there was clusters of symptoms that made no sense, where they came from, what happened. I don't have any underlying health conditions that would have triggered these symptoms, as far as I know. Like, I don't have heart problems or a heart structure issue, and I was having severe heart palpitations, right? And so, and that was one of the symptoms amongst many. And so I had to turn inward and start to think about, well, maybe some of my emotions and some of my experiences and some of my perspectives and values are linking up with the way my body is experiencing life. Does that make sense? I mean, I'm not trying to get too, deep into, the metaphysical type thing. I mean, I'm really into metaphysics, but I just want you all to think about it for a minute. What if the way that I think about death and life is making me have some physical symptoms that are making me feel sick and making me sick? And so this is not about, oh, it's all in my head type thing, because I went to doctors and, I got pointed to psychiatrists and things like that who were trying to tell me you're depressed, and here, take these depression pills. Oh, you just have anxiety, here, take these anxiety pills, which would make it 100 times worse, okay? And so, I entertained those things for a minute, and I thought about it, and I said, no, I'm not depressed to that degree. I get up every day and take care of my kids, and I'm happy to see the sunrise, and I have ambitions and goals. I'm not depressed to that degree. There are some things about life that kind of get me down, but I'm not depressed to where I'm having severe physical responses to being depressed, right? Like, I'm talking about losing the ability for my legs to function, y'all. Okay? At different intervals. And then I thought, and I said, well, anxiety? No, I know when I'm feeling anxiety. I know when I'm feeling, anxious about something or unsettled. And I know when there's something, that little thing in the back of my mind that's making me feel like I need to get my hands on it or touch it or take care of it to help the feeling dissipate. And I wasn't having those types of issues all the time to where I could say, yeah, this might be some anxiety. Okay. Now, I'll tell you, I probably developed some anxiety after I started having some of these symptoms because I was worried. But the one thing that I realized that helped me a whole lot was when I would sit down and I would engage in meditation. Okay. Now, again, meditation, that could be another video too, because there's so many different ways to turn inward and to listen to your innermost being, right? Not your mind, not the stuff that, is influenced by all the stuff you've been taught and heard and what people want you to do. Not that part of you. But I'm talking about intrinsically your core, your soul, the piece of you that exists when nothing else, right? None of the skin and the bones and the clothes and the relationships, when all of that ceases to exist, what is left of you? That's your core. And so that's what I'm talking about. And so when I was able to let go of all that other stuff and tap and kind of step back from it and really just be at just a quiet and still and start to make space to disconnect from all of these things, ideas and thoughts and desires and expectations, only then was I able to find peace in my body to where I wasn't having all of these symptoms. And it's not something that I am totally clear on today to where I can articulate it in the way that I would love to be able to. But there's something there. It's that connection between your soul and the body and how it lives and experiences life. And so I would urge folks to find that connection. And to be able to do that, I know for one, you have to slow down. You got to slow down and you got to listen and you got to feel and you got to quiet everything else. And so that is what I would say is my number one. The connection between the soul and the body and health. Okay? So anyway, I hope you maybe took some notes if you found some things that were good takeaways for you. I'm sharing what I have to give as far as some of the things that I think are really important in thinking about being healthy, showing up and being who exactly you want to be physically, being able to do that. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts, and I think that's gonna be it for our time together.